Hey everybody, this is Halstead and Andrew McMillan with REH CPA. Today we want to talk about a filing status. What is it and how does it affect your taxes? I've got Andrew McMillan here with me today. Andrew, what can you tell us about your tax filing status?
So anytime you file your individual tax return, you're going to be required to choose a filing status. And what that filing status does is it determines what tax brackets you're going to be in, and it also determines if you're eligible for some credits or deductions depending on your situation. So there are about 5 filing status to choose from. The first one generally being the single filing status. So if you're unmarried, you're single, don't have any kids, then you by default are going to be in the single filing status. But let's say you're single or considered unmarried, maybe legally separated, some situation, and you have a dependent child that you care for more than half the year. You provide a house, a roof, and you care for a child for more than half the year. You can be single, but you're going to qualify for a head of household filing status. So if you're single with no kids, you're going to be in the single filing status. If you're single, but you also provide for over half the year's support for a child and a roof over their head, then you're going to be in the head of household filing status, which is better than the single filing status. So those are kind of the 2 ones to choose from if you're just an unmarried person, which kind of leads into the next one, which is married filing joint, which is really the best tax bracket to be in if you're married, is the married filing joint tax bracket. Just the way the tax brackets work, the married filing joint tax brackets are wider. It just allows more of your income to be taxed at a lower rate. So the married filing joint filing status is the best one to choose. But some situations require you to not want to file a joint return. So if you're married, you could do a married filing separate filing status as well. Maybe you're going through a divorce, or you want to only pay the tax on your income. Maybe a married filing separate filing status is better for you, but it's usually often not the best tax outcome if you go that route, but it is available. And then lastly, the filing status, let's say you're married and your spouse unfortunately passes away during the year. For that first year, you can still do a married filing joint return, but for 2 years after that year, if you have a child, a dependent child that you care for and provide a house for, a roof over their head, you can use a qualifying widower filing status. And that's better than just having to default to the head of household or the single filing status. So if your spouse passes away, and for that first year, you can still do a joint return, but for 2 years after that, you can use a qualifying widower filing status if you have a child. So those are the 5 filing statuses to choose from. Another important note, though, is the IRS determines your marital status on December 31st. So if you were unmarried for the entire year,
A rush to the altar,
and you got married on December 31st, then you can file a married filing joint tax return. So, just something to be mindful of.
Well, that's really good information, Andrew. It's very important to understand your filing status. So if you have any questions about your current filing status or whether or not you're going to have a change and want to understand the tax ramifications, feel free to give us a call and we'll help you out. Thank you.